A woman holding a gun into the supermarket, trying to find an adulterous husband to calculate the book. Unexpectedly, some strange neighbors took action for the cause, vow to help her find Tutam hiding among employees. Mizzy and her husband and daughter have just moved to a new residential area. This is the first time the whole family has had their own home. With the eager mood, Mizzy began a completely new life she always dreamed of. After arranging the furniture, Mizzy needs to pay the remaining money to the transfer company. But with her sharp eyes and her hearing ears, she discovered that the corner of the table was slightly chipped. The dishes are not covered with shockproof paper on demand. The base of the flower pot is also cracked by the staff. Moreover, the moving company is 20 minutes late than the appointment time. Listening to Mizzy listing each evidence the moving company cannot be denied. It had to agree to reduce her 50,000 won. It was Mizzy, a housewife with a meticulous mind, good at observing and mint in finding evidence. After the moving house left, Mizzy's mother-in-law and brother-in-law came. In the middle of the meal, the mother-in-law blamed her daughter-in-law to let her son wear a shirt. Sisters are whispering about Mizzy's bad cooking talent and bad taste. In short, they scrutinized her enough to looking at anywhere. To suppress the anger, Mizzy pretended to go to the supermarket to buy fruits. If she did not go right away, she was really afraid she would not help but handle the husband's family. Just lying without blinking. The supermarket is located just below the floor of the apartment building. Most customers are housewives like Mizzy. In particular, a woman who is trying to eat grilled beef at the test counter. Seeing the staff still fumbling, she rolled up her sleeves to help, cut the beef into loud pieces of attractive and then shouted loudly. Immediately, countless customers rush to try and scramble to buy. Another woman calmly travels between customers, quietly reminded them that the opposite supermarket is cheaper and fresher foods, because she is the owner of the supermarket opposite. A proficient delivery girl hugged the box to prepare for delivery. No doubt, when she opened the door, she faced a muzzle again. The gunner is a middle-aged woman. She used a gun to threaten, asking all women in the supermarket to stay. Seeing her actually exploded a shot into the watermelon. All employees and female customers were scared. Trembling gathered in front of her. The woman roared, asking the Tutam to have an affair with her husband to step out. Her husband is the manager of this supermarket. The man tried to clear, asserting he absolutely did not commit adultery. But the wife was still aggressively, declaring that she had a device to track the positioning on her husband, and seeing him with another woman from the hotel to the supermarket. Seeing her husband still denying, she angrily pulled the trigger. Narrowly, the woman earlier helped at the test counter held a sheep's thigh throwing directly at the manager, causes the bullet to slide into an orange. The woman holding an angry gun turned to ask. The woman tried to explain that even if she wanted to kill the adulterous husband, she had to find evidence and evidence. Finding Tutam, otherwise it was too unjust. By the time the woman hesitated, Mizzy came out, promising to help her find Tutam. Through the story she knew an hour ago, her husband and Tutam went to the supermarket with a walkway for employees. Since then, Mizzy affirmed that Tutam is definitely a supermarket employee. However, facing a woman's muzzle, all female employees denied it here, asserting that they are not Tutam. The husband rushed up, blocking in front of the female employees, asking his wife to stop and think for their children. Hearing that, the woman became more and more indignant. Once, the husband lied to take his son to an amusement park, but actually dating and having sex with Tutam right there. After that, he left his son to enjoy his mistress. Because of finding his father, the boy unfortunately fell and injured. When the woman rushed to the hospital, the son was in pain to his mother that his father left him. Therefore, when she heard her husband mention her son, she could not forgive this bastard man. Female customers who were taken hostage were also boiling blood, simultaneously condemning the man's act. In the midst of noise, a female customer spoke up, suspecting one of the main employees was Tutam. Turned out just now, this guest saw the employee secretly giving the manager a bottle of water. The gesture looked very shady. The employee hurriedly explained that next week there was a contract to extend the contract. She is just trying to take management to keep the job. Seeing the staff arguing, the woman holding a gun could not distinguish who was Tutam, so she threatened to kill them all. During endangered, Mizzy once again shielded everyone, declaring that she knew who was the real Tutam and hoped she would not harm innocent people. The one that Mizzy pointed out was the most outstanding appearance. She immediately objected, saying that Mizzy had no evidence. But actually, Mizzy has grasped the clues for a long time. Earlier, she observed that the husband had no reaction when the other employees were pointed to guns, but she rushed out when this employee was in danger. Obviously, she has a special position in his heart. The man and the co-staff in unison. Mizzy immediately asked both to hand over the phone. The obedient staff gave. The innocent expression asserted that she had nothing to hide. Mizzy opened their social network accounts in turn. At first glance, the employee's account was only selfie, photo food without any photo of the manager. But how can these tricks through Mizzy's eyes? She discovered on her personal page, there was a picture of a red wine bottle. As for the man, there is a picture of a charcoal plate released many years ago. Coincidentally, the date of production of wine bottles. And the release date of the charcoal plate is the day of birth of the two of them. Mizzy asserts that this is the gift they give. The employee still argued that it was only a coincidence. Mizzy immediately gave the next evidence. In a photo of her diet, the reflective image on the vaguely spoon appeared the manager's face. Even so, the man still denied it. Seeing that, Mizzy decided to launch indisputable iron evidence. At this moment, the outside police warned, "Ask the woman to hold a gun to surrender." Seeing her may be provoked by the police and lost control at any time, the woman who tried immediately texted her husband as a police officer outside, "Bow on temporarily, do not act." Unfortunately, the task force was present. They did not hear her husband's advice, but immediately deploy snipers, preparing for coercion to break into the supermarket. The situation is about to overcome control. To protect hostage and avoid angering the woman holding a gun, the woman who tried with extraordinary power easily pushed a refrigerator out, using it to stop the main door hard, making the task force unable to rush in. On that occasion, Mizzy approached and smelled on the manager and the employee, discovering both smells of white roses often found in the hotel. The delivery girl immediately spoke, saying it was the smell of rose shampoo from a recent hotel. Because often delivery in the area, she understands the surrounding situation like the palm, and said that I often saw the manager's car parked in front of the hotel. At this country, the employee still tried to deny. Mizzy immediately launched the last technique. She opened the phone of the two, gave the old manager's old transaction message. These messages look like they are exchanging for goods and trading, but Mizzy soon realized the unusual when shopping earlier. She noticed that the man texted and tried to suppress excitement, suspecting that these trading messages are actually dating secretions. Excessive, the man finally knelt to the ground to beg. The wife angrily pointed the gun at her husband. To avoid a bloody case, the woman tried to kick the trolley at the man and then rushed to control him at the spot. At the same time, the task force promptly rushed to catch the woman holding the gun. The situation was finally controlled, the supermarket owner opposite the phone to the wife. The phone screen displayed the bastard husband had just transferred to her 100 million won. It turned out that 5 minutes ago, the shop owner and the delivery girl secretly unlocked his phone, used the date of birth of Chutam to unlock the bank account, then transferred all his savings to the poor wife. All of the sisters, including Mizzy, came to comfort the woman, advise her to forget the bad husband and use this money to start life again. That night, Mizzy, the woman tried and the shop owner sat down to talk together and officially got acquainted. At this point, they knew that the woman tried to have extraordinary power used to be a trump card. The shop owner is the former insurance queen, mastering both civil and commercial laws. Mizzy, meanwhile, is extremely fond of Sherlock Holmes, good at analysis and deduction. And the girl delivered earlier was the intelligence king of the neighborhood, knowing everything around. After getting acquainted, four women decided to join the revenge, determined to challenge the injustice in their neighborhood. A new restaurant near the residential area is always crowded. However, the guests do not know that the restaurant owner secretly used pork expired and smelled. Even the extra dishes that excess guests are also presented and brought to other table. After establishing the revenge of the sisters, Mizzy and his 3 friends began the journey to find justice. One day, through the words of the head of the street, Mizzy learned that there was a resident of the BMW car parking very indiscriminately, taking up 2 seats alone. Every time he also deliberately blocked the entrance of other vehicles. So Hui, the intelligence queen of the group specializing in delivery in the region, provided more information for 3 friends. It is said that a week ago it was because this guy parked indiscriminately, the cars of other households could not go out. The leader of the ancestor so missed an important part of her son's wedding. If you sell vegetables, you have to leave for a whole day because I can't get the car out. Worse, the child of a sick household needs to go to the hospital urgently. But because the BMW clamped the road blatantly, the family had to call an ambulance. When delivering, So Hui saw the BMW car owner clamped unconsciously. He was full of gold on his body, putting on a special bag to collect debts on his body with a tattoo. Looking through is to know an uneducated thug to face the BMW car owner. That night, Ngong came, the former police officer of the group, deliberately won the parking place. The tattooed guy saw that, so he would go crazy, vowed to take revenge on the person who dared to rob his place. The next morning, Ngong Ra discovered that his car was covered with chewing gum. At that moment, the tattooed guy came, the tone of the tune was mocking. To help, Ngong found the culprit. Mizzy went to Ji-hyun's supermarket, another member of the group, to ask about a gum. Ji-hyun said that this kind of sale did not run, but yesterday there was a fat guy who came to buy some bars. Based on that, people claim that the tattooed guy was the culprit. He was very curious about how Mizzy realized the candy. Mizzy explains that red candy proves to contain a lot of color products. Just now, she noticed the tattoo of the tattoo and his girlfriend were all tinged with red. Everyone admired Mizzy's observation and determined to punish him tattooed. In order to serve this plan, Ngong went to ask her husband to help. Her husband used to be her junior at the police station. In the past, Ngong Ra was a unique policeman, extraordinary strength, enemy 10, causing criminals to hear Dan was terrified. But during a mission, she was almost attacked by criminals. Among the thousands of pounds hanging hair, the junior promptly opened her to save her. Unfortunately, the shot killed the criminal on the spot. Ngong Ra and the junior have feelings for each other. In order to protect him from being punished, Ngong Ra took the gun, stood out the burden of sin. Because of this incident, she was punished and quit her job. But in the risk of luck, she should be married to that junior, leaving the police industry and becoming a gentle wife at home to take care of her husband. But now, Ngong came thanks to her husband, who was still working at the police station, to help look up the information of the tattooed guy through the license plate. Unexpectedly, he bluntly refused, saying that his wife was making more trouble for himself. Not only did it come out, Mizzy could not rely on her husband. That night, her husband returned home. Mizzy discovered that her husband gave all the money in the wallet for the driver to rent. Even bank cards have no wings to fly. To find the valuable card, Mizzy went to her husband's car to find. After a rummage, she finally found the card falling. But when he raised his head, Mizzy was almost dumbfounded. The other 3 cars blocked her car in the middle. This is also the game of the tattoo. Seeing Mizzy parked in his place, he called his friends, deliberately parking close to her, causing her to be stuck, unable to go out. Mizzy had to ask the kind guard of the house to contact with the car owners. However, including the tattoo guy, all of them deliberately did not listen to the phone. Mizzy's husband was asleep as if he died. He did not wake up. At times like this, you can see the most reliable. Ngong Ra and Ji-hyun, the supermarket owner, hurriedly ran over, brought Mizzy against cold blankets, also giving her dishes for convenience in the car. To make friends with Mizzy, they even stood in front of the car to sing together. Mizzy vowed to revenge the tattooed guy. To help his friend, he took out a large stick, pretending to be about to smash his car, and asked the guard to take photos. Who doubted, the tattooed guy just saw this was a staged photo, asserting that these women did not dare to damage his clamping BMW. Seeing the tattooed guy saw the message without answering, Ngong immediately launched a tricky power, lifting the whole BMW clamped. Seeing this video, the new tattoo started to be zealous. Running to the parking lot, scolded Ngong Ra dared to touch his beloved car. Under the quarrel of the women, the tattooed guy had to drive the car that was blocking Mizzy away. Escape, Mizzy asked the tattoo to apologize, but he was still the same, determined not to bow. Seeing that, Mizzy and the sisters decided to thoroughly handle this troublesome guy. The next day, the women displayed charities in the parking lot, causing the tattooed guy has nowhere to pass. But this guy not only does not repent but also once again calling friends from other places. Repeat the old technique, indiscriminate parking, causing the parking lot to be blocked. In the evening, the Queen of Intelligence compared to Hui brings new news. When she went to delivery, she saw him with his own eyes in a residential area, smoking in children's play area and littering indiscriminately classified. It is true that an awkward, unconscious person. From his garbage bag, Hui discovered a few pork wrapping paper. And know that this tattoo guy is not thugs but the boss of a barbecue restaurant. It is said that his shop is crowded every day. It seems that it has made a lot of money, so it is so bossy. To teach him a lesson, for women were determined to act. The next day, the tattooed guy discovered that his BMW clamp was covered with labels and animated drawings. While he was busy removing, for women standing on the high floor in the house of Koi Tri monitored. In addition to parking unconsciously when business, the tattoo guy is also a dishonest. He not only owes employees but also criticizes them lazy. When the employee intends to throw away the expired and smelled pork, he tattooed again, blatantly put in the cooking pot. He even took the excess food of the guest to put it on the plate and brought it to another table. Until one day, 4 Mizzy people came to the restaurant. Dang killed a series of evil behaviors of the tattoo, one of which was So Hui's discovery. In his garbage bag, she saw that under the bags of high-quality pork and hiding another type of label. She realized that the tattoo guy used a high-quality pork bag to pack poor-quality pork to deceive consumers. The tattooed guy denied the disappearance. Seeing that, 4 women immediately withdraw their phone showing a video. The video is very clearly shot. He owes his staff salary and uses pork expired. The first scene was shot by So Hui. The second scene was written by a male employee in the shop. The tattooed guy still shouted, demanding to find the other 2 employees to calculate the book. Who doubted at that moment, the inspection team came to the shop. They have received a complaint against the tattooed guy and will conduct an investigation of the restaurant's food safety issue. Hearing the dialogue between the inspection team and the boss, the guests in the shop know that the pork was not clean and immediately left. With the intervention of the inspection team, the restaurant of the tattoo was punished to suspend business. He was angry, calling his friends outside, telling them to drive all the cars to the residential area. Unexpectedly, that night, 4 women took action first. By the time the tattooed guy drove into the parking place, the sisters quickly drove the car to stop on the 4 sides, also let him taste the feeling of being stuck in the car. At the same time, the security guard also coordinated with them, deliberately parked a school bus at the entrance to block his friends, making their cars unable to enter the residential area. In an instant, the man called Heaven did not understand, calling the earth was not good. The whole night he could only take the restaurant's leaflets for blankets and sleep in the car. After being taught a lesson, he finally knew what. The next day, he prayed to the women, promising that later he would definitely live kind and peaceful. The sisters now forgive him, and the tattoo guy also kept his promise. From that day onwards, he volunteered to volunteer in the parking lot, support residents to park cars in accordance with regulations. Mizzy and the sisters feel extremely gloating, determined to continue to fulfill the righteous mission of the revenge team to the end. Since the establishment of a righteous alliance, the name of revenge, 4 women were as close as the flesh. Every night they gathered in front of Ji-hyun's supermarket to talk, lament all kinds of family stories. That night, a teenager went to the supermarket to buy instant noodles. Seeing the boy seemed to lack money, Ji-hyun sold him cheap. Through the story of Ji-hyun, Mizzy learned the boy's situation. His father's travel company went bankrupt in the pandemic. Mother had an affair and then left with another man. To raise children, the father must work alone at the construction site. Unfortunately, there was a labor accident. In the same way, he borrowed wine. A while later, Mizzy went to pick up his daughter. On the way home, the mother and son caught the boy. The boy named Mingu is trying to wake up his drunken father. Knowing Mingu is my daughter's classmate, Mizzy rushed to help, calling an ambulance to take the man to the hospital. After being stable, the mother and son left without even knowing that Mingu's pain was still ongoing. The boys in the class texted, forcing him to a chat group and trying to mock and humiliate. Mingu just watched without answering, and the next day was revenge. At the school's cafeteria, they used teasing words, using all ways to bully the weak boy. Mizzy's daughter felt discontent, and immediately stopped, asked them to stop those excessive actions. The boys just laughed and contempt, absolutely did not see a girl. Sadly, Mingu was helpless and coldly rejected her kindness. For women absolutely do not know anything about this. At this time, they are exciting to share with each other. By middle age, wives all want to try new things to warm up affection for her husband. Among them, Ngong tried to play the role, trying to evoke her husband's desire. No doubt was criticized by her husband as a buffalo health. There was no femininity. Today, the Minggu boy went to Jihyun's supermarket to buy cigarettes. But according to regulations, minors are not allowed to buy these items. Jihyun thought the boy bought him for his father, and told him to tell his father to buy himself. Unexpectedly, when the supermarket was busy, Minggu quickly stole a bag. In fact, the boys who bullied him asked Minggu to buy medicine. The drug was in hand, but they did not stop bullying Minggu. On the contrary, it is too much to see him as an ashtray. Mizzie's husband accidentally passed by, trying to help. No doubt, even as a bodybuilding coach, he was grabbed by a bunch of kids. The husband was about to fight back, but the bullying flood did not abstain. Surely adults will not dare to do anything to minors. The leader who was gracefully raised his fist when he was suddenly stopped. Ngong immediately confiscated their cigarettes. She did not take the initiative to act, but challenged them to attack herself. As long as they hit, she will cover them tobacco wannabe as much as they want. Being provoked, the boys immediately rushed in. Any doubt, the body of the body gently dodged easily, then gently controlled the whole crowd. Before the shout of Ngong, the boys raised their hands to surrender. Hurriedly ran away. Mizzie's husband thanked Ngong. The two watched the book they left and discovered the student's student card inside. At this point, they realized that Minggu was once again bullied. Mizzie's daughter explained to her parents that she wanted to help Minggu, but she was afraid of being involved. That night, Mizzie wanted a passionate night with her husband, but the husband, because today, lost his face in front of his daughter, so his self-esteem was hurt, not close to his wife. Mizzie complained about her husband's story with her sisters, and told the story of Minggu being bullied by her classmate. They decided to restart the strength of the revenge to help the boy. The bullies have not stopped. They asked Minggu to sneak under the teacher's skirt. Betiling, Minggu had to follow. Any doubt, he just pulled out the phone, the bullying flood shouted, slandered him to do bad things. The teacher asked Minggu to tell the truth. While the boy hesitated, his classmates' bully him appeared with a gloating face. Seeing Minggu falter, the teacher thought that he had a bad intention and asked his parents to go to school. Minggu could only swallow tears and helplessness after school. He was bullied again by floods. At this time, for women stealthily hiding in a corner, taking a scene of Minggu being bullied, they followed them to a karaoke room, secretly returning to the bossy bullying. To help Minggu, they need indisputable evidence. After being wrong, Minggu was shocked to walk on the street, seeing a car about to rush. Narrowly, Mizzie rushed out to hug the boy in time. For women promised to help Minggu, hope you can live well, do not do foolish things. But the boy was still extremely desperate. He did not have to resist. He reported to the teacher, went to the police station, but he did not go anywhere. In return, it is just a more cruel revenge of bullying. For Minggu, the weight a little of adults, every minute, every second is a torture. Listening to Minggu, everyone was red. That night, the bullies catch Mizzie's daughter, asking Minggu to come. To protect her friend who had been good to her, Minggu bravely came to see them. The thugs had just worked with Minggu. Suddenly, for women roared an hour. Seeing that the bullying flood was still horizontal, Mizzie immediately filled with water in his hand, did not say 2 words, threw it straight at them. The bullies called all the older thugs. Seeing that, for women no longer abstain, immediately rushed to fight. Soon, the whole crowd was beaten to work, running away. Finally, the bullies kneeled down to ask for forgiveness. They said in a resolute voice that they were all of Mingus' mother. If they still dare to touch their son, the revenge team will not respect it anymore. At this time, Ngong Ra's husband and Mizzie's husband ran to, only to see the bullies bowed and apologized. Everything has been solved by their talented wives. After that, the girls brought photos and videos to the teachers' teachers and then attended the disciplinary council of the school as a witness. Thanks to their testimony, the bullying floods had to receive appropriate punishment. In the following days, the girls also supervised these spoiled children wherever they were, forcing them to pick up cigarette and do good deeds. The more good news is that Mingus' father revived, returning to work. All 4 women are happy for their father and son. After resolving the previous incident, the women in the women's union received a new case. That day, Mizzie went to the garbage gathering area of the residential area to see someone threw rubbish indiscriminately. When she picked up the garbage bag, did not expect the women's chiefs to pass by. Mizzie felt unjustly, vowed to wash his name. After opening the garbage bag, she discovered the familiar internal things. It was the clothes of the mother and daughter who had just accompanied the elevator earlier. Fortunately, there is a delivery invoice in the garbage bag. Based on the address on the invoice, Mizzy brought the trash bag to return intact in front of the other woman's house. Back to the video recorded her astonished expression. She brought the video to the president, realizing that she misunderstood Mizzy. The woman had to apologize, but the incident was not over. A few days later, residents in the area gathered noisy in front of the garbage gathering area. The reason is that the waste classification is too bad, causing the company to refuse to collect. Just like that, garbage in the mountain gathering area. Residents suggested that the president must resolve this. Recalling the story the day before Mizzy had to find the culprit to throw garbage, the president immediately contacted her, asking her to help handle all those garbage. Just by completing this, Mizzy will receive free garbage bags for a whole month. Mizzy immediately agreed and invited 3 more close friends to join. The sisters immediately embarked on action. They searched the pile of garbage based on delivery invoices, the inner receipt to investigate and identify households through rubbish indiscriminately, then personally brought the garbage to the house to ask them to resort. While busy, Mizzy suddenly heard a girl's scream nearby. She rushed to run when the girl explained that just now there was a metamorphosis showing her clinging to her. Mizzy did not hesitate, rushed to grab a man wearing a hoodie that looked very suspicious, then used the garbage bag in his hand to throw him directly at him. Any doubt, that man with 3 legs and 4 legs fled, then hid. That night, Mizzy was still studying the solution to solve the problem of waste classification. In the middle of the night, the apartment on the upper floor continuously emitted the sound of furniture. Mizzy went upstairs to ride the bell, but she did not know. The person living in that apartment is the metamorphosis in the afternoon. The man who was afraid of his work was exposed, just hiding on one side without daring to open the door. Mizzy muttered a few sentences and left. The next day, Mizzy saw that the pervert yesterday was watering flowers in the residential area. The guard explained that man was residence here. It is also the newly accepted protection. Knowing he lived right on his home and the noise last night was caused by him, Mizzy became even more suspicious, affirming that he was an indecent behavior. At that moment, the head of the street people came, stood out to sponsor the man, saying that he was a rare trusted young man in this time. Turns out, a few nights ago, the head of the drunken leader fell in the residential area. It was this young man who passed by and kindly helped him home. Even so, Mizzy still doesn't believe this guy. The young man explained that last night he appeared in the flower pot because of urination. In order for Mizzy to believe himself, he also announced that he would find the true pervert last night. Mizzy and the sisters are still busy with the waste case. That day, they went to a convenience store near the residential area, give a stack of invoices found in the garbage bag to the boss. Obviously, this garbage bag comes from the trash inside the store. They suspect that the person who throws this garbage bag or the patient of the store, or is the boss. The owner admitted that the trash bag was indeed thrown away, and immediately apologized. But Mizzy noticed on his back with a personal tape. Last night, when searching for this trash bag, Mizzy and the sisters saw inside a long hairstyle of daughter dying, along with some bloody paper. The boss explained in panic, said that grabbing that could be a high school girl who came to the store and threw it in the trash. But Mizzy and Gong realized an abnormal point. The two of them obviously did not mention the word dying. Yet the boss blurted out that there was a girl who liked to dye her hair recently. Mizzy began to suspect the boss on the contrary. Gong came out carefree that he was a good person. But actually, Mizzy's anxiety is not wrong. These days, the shop owner is imprisoning a girl working part-time in the house, and cut her dyed hair. That day, the girl's sister came to the store to ask. Her sister has disappeared without reason for a few days now. She is very worried. The man lied that her sister was just because of being angry by the customer, so she went out to the tournament, also told her to rest assured. He even pretended to be kind, giving her some pocket money. At night, a resident ran to complain, saying that the man's home always made noise as if under construction. He answered through the speaker arriving home. He opened the locking door. Interrogating and asking for a part-time job was imprisoned by him. He realized the noise was because the girl tried to beat the door to escape. The girl begged the boss to let her go out to meet her sister, but he just smiled coldly and replied, if she was not good, He was not afraid to catch her younger sister here. Recently, the man even bought the girl a wig, but insisted on not releasing people. He insisted that if she went out, she would be close to other men. The girl explained that she and the other were just friends and never considered the boss as a lover. But the man does not believe, saying that acts like her borrowing money are expressions of love. Mizzy is still investigating this incident. Yesterday, when she walked out of the convenience store, she accidentally heard her sister's phone call. Curious, she approached the story. She does not believe the boss' words, saying that my sister was studying at the hair academy because she wanted to make money to pay for tuition. She lived very economically. Moreover, the hairdressing exam was about to approach. Her sister could not leave the prize. Moreover, the hair color of her sister and her sister is completely the same, because it is a hair dyeing formula made by her own hands. In other words, the cutting hair was found in the garbage bag that night was definitely from her sister. Based on the narrative of her sister, Mizzy dared to confirm that the other girl would have happened something bad. So Hui, the girl delivered, also felt unusual. A few days ago, when So Hui arrived at the convenience store, seeing her dyed hair, the part-time girl also said she wanted to help her dye her hair. So Hui can recognize that girl is absolutely not an arbitrary type, easy to quit to hang out. Combined with the attitude of the store owner, Mizzy and the sisters all suspect this guy certainly has a problem. So Hui has provided an important claim. The owner of the store also lived in this residential area. She often delivered food to his house. But recently, the amount of food he put clearly has increased, obviously the meal for 2 people. Mizzy could not suppress his curiosity, and so Hui also decided to help one hand. That evening, compared to Hui Jiao food to the man's house, but she deliberately used the one-time and used rice box. Then tell him to finish eating, let the lunchbox outside the door. A moment later, when he put the lunchbox out, Mizzy hurriedly came to check. She believes that this lunchbox is the only girl's prayer channel being imprisoned as expected. On the lid of the lunchbox, Mizzy discovered that the cutting hair was crushed in the word for help. Through reasoning, Mizzy was sure that the girl at a convenience store was being detained by the boss. Therefore, she quickly contacted the sisters in the association. Because the store owner knew Mizzy and Gong's face, the two had to ask her sister Ji Hyun to come to support rescue. Ji Hyun was afraid to rush into the tiger cave, so Mizzy encouraged her, saying that this is an opportunity to practice acting skills. Ji Hyun, who longed to win the crown in the Miss Middle-Aged contest. Mizzy immediately said that Ji Hyun was talented, only lack of acting just or can take this opportunity to practice reality. Convinced, Ji Hyun agreed to break into the enemy's lair alone under the coordination of 2 sisters. As planned, Ji Hyun knocked on the door of the man's house. Lying that his mother bought kimchi and left her supermarket, now she came to deliver. As a result, Ji Hyun had conveniently entered his house and indeed discovered a locked door. The man, who did not believe Ji Hyun, was about to withdraw the weapon. Fortunately, Ji Hyun had a quick response, preparing a piece of paper to record the delivery information, making him mistakenly think that she only delivered the wrong address. He tried to drag Ji Hyun out, but she immediately showed her acting talent, pretended to have abdominal pain and ran into the toilet. Taking advantage of the inside, she sent a message to the outside sisters. Upon receiving the news, Mizzy immediately captured the man's license plate, then tricked that his car was crashed by others, telling him to quickly go to the parking lot. The man indeed immediately believed take that opportunity. Mizzy and Gong click all the floors in the elevator to extend the time. Then, while he went down, they ran to his house and associated with Ji Hyun. Hearing the sound outside, the girl was imprisoned hurriedly. At the same time, the man went to the parking lot, discovered that he was tricked and was on the way back. Fortunately, Mizzy's group has promptly found the key, opened the door and rescued the girl successfully. When the man arrived at the door, he saw the door was installed by Ji Hyun, and the women have called an ambulance. Seeing that, the man was about to escape, no doubt that he appeared in the corridor, chasing him harshly. The man fled into the parking lot, picked up a stick to sneak out. Fortunately, right at the time of thousands of pounds hanging hair, her husband was a police officer in time. He threw a blow over his shoulder, defeated the man to the ground, and then cuffed his hand firmly. At the same time, Mizzy and Ji Hyun also took the girl on an ambulance. A crisis finally was neutralized. The women drink together to celebrate. Mizzy and Gong relentlessly praised Ji Hyun's acting talent. They learned that the other girl, because of the carelessness, was careless, so she was imprisoned. That man seemed to suffer from narcissism, having mistakenly thought that the kindness of the girl was the passion for her. However, today, among the four women, the only lack of Hui. Ngong did not understand a bit, so Hui seemed to overdose in making money. Ji-hyun heard a story that compared to Hui was actually a billionaire. Thanks to the savings, the interest was born, soon bought houses and land in the countryside. However, the reality is completely contrary to the rumor. At this time, So Hui was wearing a simple outfit, going back and forth outside a hospital room, an anxious and insecure expression. Inside the sick room, it was her child. The child seemed to have a long coma for a long time. So Hui stuffed a chocolate bar into his hand, hoping his son would wake up soon. After that, because of the dignity, Ngong Ra's husband lied in front of his colleagues, get all the effort to rescue the girl about herself. But in fact, before that, when he contacted, he absolutely did not see this. Even so, Ngong still thought for her husband, because the younger brother of the women's union is holding a high position in the police station. To help her husband be promoted to raise salary, Ngong came constantly telling her husband in front of the president, turn him into the largest person in this incident. In another development, Mizzy suddenly discovered that her husband was mumbling in a dream. The words vanilla smell and like too. Realizing that there was something wrong, Mizzy immediately checked her husband's purchase invoice and discovered that the husband was only used to drinking the hot Americano suddenly changed to vanilla latte. At the moment she was thinking, her husband's phone had an email sent. The sender seemed to be a girl. Mizzy was about to unlock her husband's phone and found that the password was changed. A series of these signs made Mizzy began to suspect her husband. To confirm, Mizzy went to the gym where the husband worked, trying to find the mysterious girl she suspected was having an affair with her husband. In the gym is all young, beautiful, cool girls. Looking back on the stain on his sleeve, comparing for a while, Mizzy temporarily felt a bit sad. Soon after, she discovered a girl with a sexy body giving her husband a cup of coffee. Looking at the appearance of the two of them, Mizzy's heart could not help but raise doubts. Early the next morning, Mizzy was drunk when he heard the doorbell. Opened to see, so the mother-in-law and the sisters-in-law came and took a priest. It turned out recently Mizzy's husband had a nightmare. To find out the cause, her mother-in-law did not hesitate to go to the priest to ask for help. The worshipper mumbled and muttered, doing the house. Mizzy tried to stop him but was scolded by his mother-in-law and was pulled out by his sister-in-law. The teacher expressed a mystery, saying that there was a dead soul without closing his eyes wandering in this house. Even just directly into Mizzy, saying that the soul was hiding in her body. Saying that, she constantly scattered white rice on Mizzy, scolded her as a woman, demanding to push the so-called soul out of her. After the end of the magic, Mizzy went to the sisters to complain. Thanks to the companion and comfort of close friends, Mizzy's mood was finally better. When the few people went downstairs, they saw the elevator being repaired and had to go on the stairs. On the stairs, they discovered a crashed hat, which was the guard's hat in the area. Taking a few more steps, they saw that he was falling on the stairs. The sisters immediately called the ambulance. At the same time, they noticed the sofa on the stairs and realized that the security guard fell off. It is due to carelessness in helping others carry the chair. The person who sent the guard to carry the chair was the head of the security department. This man always likes to make others. Even forced the guard to go to the toilet for himself, even though it was not within the scope of his work. That day, after the toilet was finished, he continued to send him to help him carry the sofa downstairs. And that is the cause of the incident today. In the residential area, there is a new young man who comes, always quietly caring for the old man. But that day, Mizzy grabbed the young man, still suspected that he was the pervert that had pants for a girl to see last time. The boy tried his best to explain a moment later. He hurriedly went to the hospital to visit the injured security guard, but she accidentally heard the dialogue between the head of the security and the security department right in front of the room. From there, he knew the cause of Uncle Ho was injured. The head of the security department did not feel guilty, give Uncle a summit and reminded him not to blame the sofa on his head. After the head of the security department left, the young man went to the hospital to visit him. As it turned out, the guard used to be a teacher and once pulled the young man out of the muddy of life. So now he wants to repay his love. In order to do that, he took the initiative to approach the head of the security department, proved to be gentle and friendly in front of him. Helping the car to park, he took his car key. Recently, Gangwei, he protects the new young, has become the focus of discussion in the area. When he saw a girl who shook a girl's phone, Gangwei immediately chased, teach him a lesson and help the girl get back the phone. This scene is both seen by Mizzy. However, despite witnessing Gangwei's acting, Mizzy still did not eliminate his doubt to him. When the sister association gathered, Ji-hyun revealed that he heard that Gangwei only rented a short-term house, so the rent was very expensive, more than 1 million won. Mizzy secretly wondered, at home renting more than 1 million but went to work as a security guard, obviously unreasonable. When the women were talking, they saw in front of the Ji-hyun's supermarket door with a very special person. The content is to find the owner of a pair of underwear. It turned out that a few days ago, Ji-hyun discovered a luminous blue underwear was thrown back in his supermarket. Gong-ra provided a sister association with a clue. The police recently arrested a pervert nicknamed Mouse. This guy often follows the women alone and then suddenly falls off, shows down in front of them. It is said that this guy has the nickname because of his genital size. However, Mizzy could not remember the size of the castle of Gangwei that she accidentally saw that night. So it is impossible to be sure whether Gangwei is Mouse or not. On a rainy night, Mizzy once again saw the garbage in the garbage area being thrown indiscriminately, not classified. While grumbling and opening the garbage bag, Mizzy was terrified to see the inside was a bag full of luminous underwear. The same design is found at Ji-hyun's supermarket. Almost at the same time, Gong heard a woman's screams and rushed towards the sound. She saw a trembling young woman sitting on the ground. The woman explained that there was a perverted one who showed off her. In the direction that the woman only, Gong-ra found a pair of luminous panties squeezed on the tree. To catch this pervert, Mizzy and Gong-ra went to the management board of the apartment building. Request to see security cameras and have successfully zoned an object. It was this person who threw away the trash bag filled with panties into the garbage dumping area. However, looking at this person, it seems like a woman. Shortly thereafter, the management board posted a notice about a pervert appeared on the message board. Any doubt? The president of the Women's Union posted another notice about the greenery planting project of the residential area. Fully obscure the other warning. The 4 women suspected that the one who threw away luminous underwear was most likely the Mouse that the police were searching. Mizzy analyzes that the Mouse crime motivation is inferiority. When he took off his pants and showed off his lower suits, if the woman opposite was fear, Mouse would immerse himself in pleasure. On the contrary, if someone is disdainful, disregarding, it may agitate his inferiority complex, causing him to kill the victim. The problem is security cameras in the area or an old device, blurred images or just for scenes not working. Based on that, Mizzy speculated that Mouse is certainly very familiar with this residential area. So it is possible to understand the location of the camera, the time the households go home like the palm. That day, the head of the security department was wrong to protect Gangwei, forcing him to deliver the parcel to his door. Although this is not within the scope of the work of the protection, Gangwei still follows. Yet, after that, he aggressively ran to cause trouble. It was a way that his parcel was lost and then poured all the crimes on the head of Gangwei. After the postal loss, the apartment building held a residential meeting. Led by the Women's Union president, the women kept constantly pour all the responsibility to lose on the head of the security guards. They think that this opportunity should be replaced by the entire security team. Mizzy and some friends opposed, saying that instead of getting to take too much responsibility, it is advisable to replace the entire security camera system of the area. This proposal encountered fierce objections from the group's group. This year, the entire budget of the apartment has been used for landscape works, that is, planting flowers and grass, but the landscape of the residential area directly affects the house price, so there is no excess money to replace the camera. Referring to the perverted name showing off the goods, the women who just cared for the house price proved to be despised. Given that a pervert, there's nothing to mind. While the meeting was happening, the lights in the room suddenly turned off. In the middle of the darkness, Gangwei protection suddenly appeared in luminous underwear. This is the plan that Mizzy and Gangwei have discussed yesterday. To completely eliminate Mizzy's suspicion, Gangwei has no other way but to coordinate. When the lights again, Gangwei stood out, emphasizing the importance of camera installation. Whether the parcel is lost or the perverted name is extravagant, just having a camera, they will not be able to escape. The group of the president still disagrees, even asking to protect the human camera. Gongdi angrily shouted at the president. calling her behavior a compression of Party A. The president did not give up, saying that if the entire camera now replaced, the management fee would also increase. This word has just uttered. More and more households objected to the installation of additional cameras. In the shortage of cameras, the women had to use the most original way to catch the pervert. After the analysis, they discovered mice only appeared on rainy nights. They decided to trap the trap of the tiger out of the cave that night it rained again. Under the encouragement of the Sister Association, Ji-hyun wore a red dress, gorgeous makeup on the road to attract the attention of the metamorphosis. Mizzy and Gong-ra were on one side, just waiting to catch the morning. In another road in the apartment building, according to the instructions of the women, Gongdi pretended to be dressed in skirts, also trying to lure the name pervert. As expected, the opponent won. The next, stealthily followed Gangwei. Gangwei definitely took action, controlling that person. The women rushed to take photos. While struggling, Gangwei jerked the wig of this guy. Looking closely, it was the head of the security department. The women escorted him to the police station. Seeing that the story was exposed, he knelt down to apologize, then told the reason for his temporary map. According to him, he had a rich wife but did not consider himself anything, never see him as a man. For the self-respect of a man, he was the most impulsive time to do stupid things. But Mizzy, and you don't believe it. They say that men's impulsive actions are not only twice. Women in other areas in the apartment have also been in distress. He tried to reject, saying that he was just cumbersome in this area, but never went to other areas. As soon as they heard the women call themselves mouse, he did not submit. He stood up, shouting that his big goods were good. A true man. Also demanded to drop pants at the police station to prove. He explained that he was just an imitation. Mizzy began to encroach on, suspecting that his words were not lying. Who knows, in this apartment building there is still a real mouse. Come to think of it, Mizzy's gaze once again headed towards Gangwei. While eating late at night, Gangwei explained to the women about the relationship between teachers and students, between himself and the old guard. He said that he came here as a guard just to help his teacher share his work while he was hospitalized. Gong-ra and Ji-hyun both felt that Gangwei was a good young man. Only Mizzy was still suspicious. She did not understand why Gangwei did not say clearly from the beginning, but Gangwei saw through Mizzy's thoughts. He said frankly that maybe Mizzy was once deeply hurt by one person he was. If not, there was no such belief in others. Gong-ra and Ji-hyun also felt this time Mizzy was a bit too suspicious. Unexpectedly, Mizzy suddenly got angry, saying that you didn't understand anything about yourself. However, when going home, those words of Gangwei kept wandering in Mizzy's head. Flip the photo taken with her high school close friend. Mizzy's memories were pulled back many years ago. At that time, Mizzy and her best friend went out together, but later her best friend was murdered, and Mizzy is lucky to survive. Her friend scolded Mizzy, saying that they had to come back together. Even classmates murmur behind, saying that Mizzy indirectly killed his friend. This old story haunted Mizzy's mind for decades. A few days ago, her high school teacher died. At the funeral, Mizzy knew that her mother's mother was so sad, so she chose to commit suicide. And tonight, Mizzy encountered a nightmare, dreaming of a friend's mother turning into a devil looking for revenge. Mizzy and his friends successfully caught a body exposed. She was invited by the women's union president to the meeting of the residents to accept praise. However, Mizzy explained to people that the perverted person actually nicknamed Mouse actually another person. The president of the women's union and the remaining residents refused to believe. What they were most interested in was the house price. If there is a bad news in the apartment building, the price of houses will definitely be affected. After the mouse, a sister revealed to Mizzy that, according to the person in the management room, the girl living on the downstairs of the Mizzy house suddenly disappeared. This girl is a person who loves dogs, because her dog is lost. Recently she traveled around and outside the apartment building to distribute leaflets. True to that day, the Sister Association discovered that someone had thrown away a special garbage bag in the garbage gathering area. Open it, inside is the body of a cat. So Hui noticed the necklace on the cat's body was the one that she wore it last night. Thinking of a poor kitten suddenly died, Hui could not help crying. Contacting the dog's dog missing, so Hui and the sisters began to doubt. Perhaps the girl of the girl also encountered the same fate as the cat. So Hui told everyone that she had seen a man wearing a black hoodie torn to find dogs. The other girl was pasted in the apartment building. Coincidentally, This appearance is exactly the same as what people have described Mouse. Mizzy offered deduction. It seemed that Mouse was really no longer satisfied with showing the body. It has begun to do worse and disgusting things. The next day, Mizzy received news from the manager of the apartment building. Knowing that a few days ago a resident contacted the management, say they saw the body of a dog in the kitchen trash of the area. When managed to handle, the dog's body was not winged. Mizzy went to the residents who contacted the management that day seeing the girl's dog. This person recalled that day what they saw in the trash was this dog. Mizzy felt strange. After the dog died, its owner also disappeared. The incident seems not normal, special. What makes Mizzy mind is the one who took the dog's body away. Mizzy believes that the person who took the body was definitely not the other girl. If a girl sees her pet dog being killed, she will definitely make a fuss but can't be so silent. Mizzy informed So-Hui the story of the dead dog. From killing cats to throwing dogs, the perpetrator's way is almost the same. Mizzy suspected this was the same person. Talking, Mizzy noticed that Hui was wearing a cat's necklace on his wrist. Mizzy smiled slightly. So Hui was indeed a warm and honest girl. Because he was busy with work, Hui could not investigate the incident with Mizzy, had to bring delicious food to Mizzy. Last time, Tone let Mizzy alone, made her a little guilty. Soon, a bad news came. Police discovered a plastic bag on the outskirts. Inside the bag was a female body. And the victim is none other than the girl who has miserable looking for the missing dog. The residents of the apartment building know that the girl was harmed, but did not show sympathy. On the contrary, just worrying about the price of the house will decline because of this. Mizzy had a conflict with a woman mumbling home prices. This woman also said loudly that the other girl died. She also involved the whole apartment building. She even thought that the girl was targeted by the culprit due to indecent behavior. Mizzy was unbearable, rushed into the hair to fight the woman right at the battle. She was so angry because this was not the first time she had to face the same situation. In the past, when she was in school, her best friend was also murdered. After that, there were also classic classmates saying that her best friend was due to walking with the boys in the school, so they encountered such an outcome. They even suspected her friend took the initiative to follow the culprit. That year, Mizzy fought with her classmate, asking her to stop smearing her best friend. And now, Mizzy, who has not been able to calm down the past, once again watched his heart when he encountered a similar incident. In addition to criticizing the other woman, Mizzy also blamed herself. The girl who loved the other dog lived right under her floor. Before being harmed, she went to find her dog every day. Yet Mizzy never once helped. Mizzy suddenly realized that she looked honesty and righteous but actually only cared for things related to her interests. The sister association comforted Mizzy that they were the same, all living in houses separated by cement walls. Although in the heart, it is very difficult to care about the neighbors around. What makes Mizzy more concerned about is rumors that the victim's neck has been forced by the culprit to a red ribbon. And many years ago, when her best friend died, the body was also tied to a similar red ribbon on the body. Mizzy still cannot forget the old story, sometimes still have nightmares, dreaming that he is tightly wrapped by countless bands. Tonight, Mizzy received a phone call from the hospital. After arriving, she knew that So-Hui's son's illness had a bad change. The hospital could not contact So-Hui, had to call the emergency contact phone number in her contacts. Mizzy also could not contact So-Hui. The hospital announced that the baby's situation was very critical. Before the surgery must have the consent of the guardian. Mizzy immediately contacted the owner of the fried chicken shop where So-Hui worked. When the shop owner opened So-Hui's room in the shop, Mizzy knew that to make money for his son, So-Hui has saved its best, living in a room renovated from the store's warehouse. Looking at the room extremely simple before the eyes, Mizzy's heart could not help but rise a sense of hard to describe. To find So-Hui, Mizzy contacted a few other sisters, but at an important moment all did not listen to the phone. Mizzy was extremely worried. And at this time, So-Hui was still in an extremely dangerous situation. Earlier, Hui came to a house to deliver the goods. When compared to Hui regained consciousness, she horrified to realize the one who had anesthesia and kidnapped herself was the son of the Women's Association. The man admitted he was the true Mouse. The fact that the missing dog girl is also related to him. He said, every time he dropped his pants, the women screamed and ran away. In his eyes, it was disgusting for him, but the dog loved the dog was different. Faced with his perverted behavior, she did not scream, did not run, but also asked him why he had to live like that. She even told him to wear clothes to not have a cold. Since that moment, he liked the dog loving the dog. After listening to the story, Hui begged him to forgive himself. The man laughed in a sinister, saying that the paper knife in his hand could not kill, can only harm animals. So Hui suddenly awakened. The one who killed dogs and cats in the apartment building was also this guy. The one who tore the dog searching sheet was him. The reason is because he does not want to let others know the girl's contact information. So Hui questioned him. If he liked the girl, why did she kill her? He did not explain, just looking at the scented candle that the dog loved, saying that waiting for the candle to burn, he would see off Hui down to his friends with the girl he liked. So Hui risked his life to struggle. She also had to take care of her sick child. She is a mother, no matter how she can die. However, while struggling, the man controlled So Hui and once again anesthetized her. At the same time, based on the last delivery address of So Hui, Mizzy has come nearby and discovered the muscular man at home next to eating fried chicken that Hui was assigned. The man explained he did not order, as the delivery person hanging a fried chicken bag at his door. Mizzy realized, if not Hui Jiao the wrong address, it is someone who ordered and deliberately went to the fake address. The purpose was to lure Hui to come here. Going towards the neighbor's house of the muscular man, Mizzy saw So Hui's bracelet scattered in front of the door. Mizzy's gaze towards this house. So Hui is about to leave the world. So Hui suddenly disappeared. Mizzy hurriedly contacted two close friends, looking for all over the apartment building. Unfortunately, because the case of a new dog girl happened, police seized all the surveillance cameras of the house. At this moment, a child provided Mizzy an important claim. The baby recalled, last night there was a helmet that drove So Hui's electric car. That ignorant came out of this building. Mizzy came to the apartment where So Hui's bracelet crashed, but no one answered the bell forever. Mizzy still did not know that, inside, So Hui was arrested by the son of the women's union. Hearing the doorbell, So Hui tried to struggle for help, but before the cry could get out, Mizzy received a phone call. The other end of the line and informed the new manager, Gangwei, was arrested by the police. Someone said he was the culprit that murdered the dog. Turns out, the police reviewed the camera and discovered the case on the night. Gangdi has helped the drunken dog girl home. When searching the apartment, they also discovered Gangwei collected a lot of ribbons, collect all articles about ribbon murderers, even stole all the condolences to the families of the victims. When Gangwei was asked by the police, Mizzy advanced. The answer of Gangwei is still the same. He advises Mizzy to find a real culprit. Do not waste effort to blame others. Faced with police interrogation, Gangwei explained that she only helped that girl home, and other ribbons and evidence are just the props he prepared to write novels. In fact, what makes the police targeting Gangwei is not evidence from security camera. It was a phone call from the Women's Association. Not long ago, the president received a phone call from the hospital's psychiatric department, informed that her son, Mr. Beck, has not come for a long time to treat periodically. The woman opened her son's room drawer, discovered the number of drugs that the psychiatric department has prescribed. Her son did not take a tablet. In addition, in the room, she also found the photos of the thief and outline of the dog girl. The police also found the name of Beck in the victim's phone book, so he went to the president. To protect her son, the woman tries to cover up, even using a relative to be a big boss in the police industry to put pressure. After the police left, the president gave her son a plane ticket. Tell him to go to the relative's house for a while. But Beck tore the ticket again, refusing to listen to his mother's arrangement. Seeing that, the woman locked the door, smashed the cup and asked her son not to draw anymore. Beck only obeyed yes, knelt down in front of his mother. He was scared, completely subdued by his mother's authority. That day, a mysterious person called the Women's Association president, saying that the killer murdered the dog is Gangwei. Because she was the host of Gangwei, she went to the apartment to check. Here, she discovered a suitcase containing mannequins and red ribbons. Therefore, Gangwei was targeted by police. Mizzy also knows from the broker office that the owner of the apartment is a dog and an apartment where Hui drops the bracelet that is the president. A close friend, Ji Hyun, also detected the news, said the relationship between the dog girl and the president was not good. She always wanted her to move. In addition, Ji Hyun also knew that the police had come to the president. and she tried to protect her son in front of them. At this moment, the manager found So Hui's electric car in a hidden corner in the house. Mizzy and Ji Hyun analyzed that the car was definitely hidden by the culprit. To locate So Hui, Ngong Ra asked his husband, a police officer, helping. But the husband refused, saying that he was quitting. He scolded his husband as an accidental, corrupt regret that he had married. And even more regretted because in the past, he had to remove the costume to protect such a man. She also had a dream, also longing to fly high wings in the world she loved. Seeing her husband still holding a cold face, he launched a throat lock. Hand on light, decided to give him a lesson. Under the pressure of his wife, the helpless husband finally had to break the rules once, helping So Hui's position. As Mizzy predicted, So Hui's final position was the building in this apartment building. Mizzy was about to find the president to ask for it. No doubt encountered the scene where she was stealthily and shady in the trash area. Mizzy sneaked up the garbage, terrified discovered inside the black hoodie of the pervert. The paintings sketched the dog girl were torn, and a piece of paper filled with part-time delivery schedule of So Hui. By this time, Mizzy has firmly confirmed the pervert specializing in women. The killer murdered a dog girl, and the person who kidnapped So Hui all were a man, the son of the president, Mr. Beck. Mizzy's actions were discovered by the president. She still tried to justify her son. But Mizzy expressed his resolute attitude, asking her to open the door of the apartment being detained by Hui. If not, the police will not be reported. The president was forced to give in, holding the key to open the door. Any doubt that the lock has been replaced by Beck. In order to save Hui, he took out the fire extinguisher, using all his strength to break the door. Inside the house, 3 women saw a pile of scented candles. Candles were still hot. Prove that the perpetrator may still be here. They carefully search. No doubt, due to carelessness, Ngong Ra was hidden by Mr. Beck, who was hiding behind the curtains and controlled. While confronting, Mr. Beck confessed all the crimes. The night a few days ago, after Gangwei helped the dog raising the dog home, after a while, Beck entered the password and arbitrarily rushed in. He said he did not mean to harm her, on the contrary, because of worry he came. The girl suspected that Beck himself killed his beloved dog. Mr. Beck quickly explained that someone had thrown the dog's body in the trash. He just took out to bury carefully. The girl did not believe, using a cotton dog in her hand constantly hitting him. Beck suddenly confessed, saying that night when he saw him taking off his pants, in order to reveal the downstairs that she did not report to the police, and also advised him to live well. Beck said that the girl did that because they liked him. Those words were all love. Any doubt, the girl raised her voice mocking, speaking out the truth. She did not report to the police just because she wanted to use this as a weak point to threaten Beck's mother, the person who urged her to pay for rent. During the struggle, the function of taking photos on Mr. Beck's phone accidentally turned on. Looking at the phone screen, constantly taking herself, the girl repeatedly scolded Mr. Beck as a pervert, say that he is not worth living in this world. No one expected that this statement became a girl's life charm. Over the years, the president has told her son the same words. Every time the son showed signs of dissatisfaction, she used the poisonous words to fade her children. Sinking in the ghost created by his mother, Mr. Beck grabbed an item, attacking the girl she liked, then used ribbons to kill her cruelly. Knowing the crazy behavior of Beck, Mizzy roared anger. Ngong took the opportunity to kick Beck for a blow. Ji Hyun quickly sprayed the pepper spray in his face. No doubt Beck was also a martial artist. He countered and controlled all 3. Fortunately, the resilience of women is not to be underestimated. By the time Beck did not notice, Mizzy attacked from behind. Under the attack with chili powder and the perfect coordination of the 3, the evil man was finally subdued. So Hui was found, the police prize of Beck away. Amidst the curious crowd, Mizzy pays attention to his psychiatrist. The doctor explained that he came here to solve the job. I heard the ambulance, so I ran to see. Mizzy did not discover when he turned away. On the lips had a cold smile that no one realized. The truth is, in addition to psychotherapy for Mizzy, the patient of this doctor also has Beck. Beck has come to the examination many times, telling everything about his mother's cruelty, about the contempt of outside women. One evening, Mr. Beck received a parcel. Inside was a novel. Record the details of the crime of the ribbon murderer. The last page also has a message. It is better to be a hunter than as a prey. It was that from that day, Mr. Beck began to imitate the tactics of the ribbon murderer. constantly acting with girls who mocked themselves. Mizzy and his friends regained consciousness in the hospital, so Hui was also safe. At this time, everyone knew that Hui was a single mother, always lived strongly to take care of the sick child. So Hui thanked the friends who gave birth to death. But Mizzy's mind is still heavy in the case. She doubted that the ribbon murder case was probably not really over. 20 years ago, her best friend was brutally murdered. 20 years later, through a thorough investigation, the horrified woman realized that the culprit seemed to be right next to her. Yesterday, the son of the president of the Women's Union was arrested for being suspected of being the killer in the ribbon murder case. However, when watching news video, Mizzy noticed that Beck's eyes were looking at someone in the crowd. That person wore a black tree wearing a hat, looking extremely lost. Mizzy went to the police station to meet Mr. Beck, trying to ask who the mysterious person he looked. But Ngong's husband, the person in charge of the case, did not allow. Mizzy had to confess that she was the first witness of the mass murder case with the old ribbon. At that time, the first case occurred at a reservoir. The girl picked up from the lake was Mizzy's high school close friend. Before the case happened, Mizzy and his best friends went to an old house to discover. No matter where, the murderer hid him inside and suddenly attacked her friend. Mizzy was about to rush to save you, but the murderer forced her to choose. If she took a step more, her friend would be killed by him. Because of being so scared, Mizzy did not dare to move forward and therefore missed the only opportunity to save his friend. Until now, Mizzy is still extremely regretful. If time can come back, she will definitely bravely fight the culprit. Whether you are injured or sacrificed, even your life will be determined to save you. After telling the old story, Mizzy asked Ngong's husband to see him to meet Mr. Beck because she believed that he could know his inner love. The husband agreed, but at this moment, a bad news came. Beck died in the toilet. Half an hour ago, Mr. Beck used the pretense to go to the toilet and then when the police did not notice, used shoelaces to finish his life. Now, he could finally escape the mother he thought was stuffy. Along with the death of Mr. Beck, the only one who knew the story, Mizzy's clues also went to a dead end. At that moment, a woman living in the same apartment building contacted Mizzy. She said she was a neighbor and also a friend of her best friend. At this time, Mizzy knew that her best friend also lived in this apartment building. More coincidentally, she lived in the house that Mizzy had just bought, and also died due to falling upstairs to the outside of that house. Realizing all of this, Mizzy almost collapsed. At this time, at the toilet where Beck logged out, Ngong's husband discovered a word the hunter is really about to appear. It seems that Mizzy's judgment is true. The perpetrator in the case of ribbons is really another person. After that, Mizzy visited your best friend and mother. She believed that the mother's soul led her to the house, with the hope that she will help find the culprit. The friend of her best friend, also a neighbor, provided Mizzy with many clues. She offered a box of needles and said that this was the clothes of a relative of her best friend. Inside the needle box, Mizzy found a yellow scissor and immediately changed. In the past, after the case happened, my best friend's mother discovered the yellow scissors in her daughter's bag had disappeared. She suspected that her daughter or the culprit used it and took it away. She once asked Mizzy about this. Hopefully she could recall some clues, but unfortunately Mizzy did not see anything. In the pain of losing her child, she said hard words to Mizzy. But now, when reading my best friend's diary, Mizzy saw her writing that she wanted to apologize to her. The mother knew that Mizzy that year was just a high school student like her daughter. She should not be too strict with her. This diary is full of nostalgia for girls and the days of life are not equal to death after losing children. However, later on, the content of the diary became brighter. Turned out, in the apartment building, she met a lot of kind people. From the neighbor's woman downstairs, her friends. The supermarket owner is both beautiful and kind, Ji-hyun. Until the old manager Kim is always willing to help whenever she has difficulty. These warm people have given her the strongest power. However, since then, the details in the diary suddenly changed. She began to suspect someone, even because of this depression and medication every day. Mizzy discovered that there was only one piece of paper in the needle. On it, the address of her old apartment building. To find out the truth, Mizzy went to a private detective. This person let Mizzy know. In the past, the mother of her best friend asked him to find Mizzy's address. Also, after reviewing the file, the detective discovered a strange thing. She chose to end her life just a month after investigating Mizzy's address. This is very difficult to understand. Once you have investigated the address of Mizzy, Surely she had something to tell her. So why choose to suicide in just a short month? The detective also revealed, in addition to investigating Mizzy's residence, his best friend's mother asked him to investigate another person. Mizzy asked who that person was, but the detective criticized her to pay enough money, so he refused to reveal further. There was no other way. Mizzy had to return to the apartment building. She decided to start investigating from the neighbors that her best friend had mentioned in the diary. A kind neighbor woman, supermarket owner Ji-hyun, and the old man manager Kim. Mizzy found Ji-hyun first. The supermarket owner was extremely friendly, but when Mizzy mentioned his manager Kim, Ji-hyun's attitude suddenly became cold. She said that Mr. Kim has retired for a long time and no longer lived here. At the same time, Mizzy should not learn more about the past. The change of Ji-hyun's attitude made Mizzy even more suspicious. More than 10 years ago, one by accident, Gongdi discovered a novel in his teacher's notebook. He found the details in the story extremely realistic. It was as if the wicked man was at the scene. To be able to write novels like his teacher, Gongdi has moved to the apartment area where the victim's family resides. Try to find composed materials from there. The longer the time to live, Gongdi and Mizzy's best friend have built a close relationship like her mother and daughter. During that time, Gangwei felt the warmth of the maternal love from the woman, and she also rediscovered the affection of family died from Gangwei, even see him as his son. One day, the woman showed Gangwei to see the flower ring her daughter wore on the day of murder, along with the lost scissors. Gongdi immediately surprised, because he had seen these details in Mr. Kim's novel. The rings, scissors, and these evidence do not appear in public news. Since then, Gangwei knows. It turned out that the teacher that he respected the most was the ribbon murderer. After the woman fell down, Gangwei received the relics she left. A savings book. It was the amount of money she saved for her daughter. Now all are left for Gangwei. Hopefully he will use this money to live a good life. From that day, Gangwei was determined to take revenge on her mother, and began to hide in the apartment building, waiting for the day to expose the true face of the teacher. And now, knowing the true purpose of the student, Lau Kim no longer respected the gratitude of the old teachers and students. He took action with Gangwei in an abandoned warehouse, conspiracy to kill all those who know their secrets. Mizzy, meanwhile, recounted her doubt about the old Kim for the sisters. So Hui also recalled on the night of his best friend's mother fell down. Kim Manage is the first person to witness. And before the woman fell, Mr. Kim put a lot of fried chicken delivered to the place. Now think back compared to the judgment that Mr. Kim at that time wanted to use outside food to distract other managers. As for me, I secretly killed the woman. After confirming the doubt of Mr. Kim, Mizzy came to look for other managers to know that Mr. Kim today resigned, and Gongdi also disappeared without traces. Fortunately, So Hui discovered an important claim. A nurse in the hospital gave So Hui's son a doll, and in the abdomen the doll has an audio chip. Earlier, So Hui also said that her best friend had asked her to buy her for a recorder. From this point, compared to Hui's thought, the mini recorder that my best friend has bought may have been hidden inside a doll. As expected, after searching for the dolls she left, they found the recorder inside. When the recording is turned on, the last piece of the case has been completed. A day of a year ago, because of gratitude, Mr. Kim helped repair the water pipe. The woman brought food to give. But she happened to discover that in Lau Kim room there wasn't exactly the scissor. She also saw that Mr. Kim stole all the letters sent to the families of the victims. The investigation then testified her judgment. That day, my best friend made an appointment of Mr. Kim to come home to meet. When he discovered he was suspected, Mr. Kim no longer hidden, even showed interest when recalling the past that murdered her daughter. My best friend wants to revenge for her, but not the opponent of Lau Kim, and was cruelly killed by the old man. After that, Mr. Kim tore a page in her diary to make a letter, then throw her body downstairs to create a fake scene. He also fake people to the scene to be the first witness. As soon as she heard the recording, Mizzy received a phone call from Lau Kim. Knowing that her daughter was kidnapped, to save her children, Mizzy alone went to an abandoned mental hospital at the request of him. This is the place where her best friend was in distress in the past. Here, Mr. Kim asked Mizzy to hand over the recording machine. Mizzy followed, and Mr. Kim immediately crushed it. Discovering Mizzy is embarking on a tiger cave, The three sisters did not say a word, immediately together. They will not let Mizzy face the devil alone. Inside the building, Mizzy suddenly sprayed a bottle in Mr. Kim's face, tried to take this opportunity to find a girl being detained. However, Mr. Kim was too strong. He quickly discovered Mizzy's hiding place. With a fierce face, he was going to kill the killer. At this moment, the three sisters promptly arrived. They risked their lives into an abandoned operating room, where Mizzy's voice was emitted. I saw Mr. Kim controlling her and threatening them. The sisters tried to advise, hoping that Mr. Kim could confess. But Kim is still stubborn, threatening to kill everyone. Fortunately, the sisters are very smart. They took the opportunity to take out the prepared spray bottle, then signaled with the eye with Mizzy. When Mizzy dodged him, Ji-hyun immediately sprayed his face. Ngong immediately rushed up, using the old body to death to fight him. So Hui took the opportunity to attack from behind. Finally, Mr. Kim collapsed in a pool of blood. The sisters breathed a sigh of relief, immediately looking for Mizzy's daughter in the building. No doubt, Mr. Kim was like an immortal demon, stood up again, lighter, causing the fire to spread everywhere for a moment. In the fire, four Mizzy people ran to the second floor. When he saw a room, Mizzy's heart suddenly was confused, because in the past, her best friend was given to this room by Mr. Kim in this room. Mizzy suspected his daughter was also tied here. However, the fire in the building has flared violently. When they were trying to break the door, Mr. Kim was constantly approaching. Ngong rushed in and struggled with Mr. Kim, trying to extend the time for Mizzy to save his son. But the devil was so strong, the people were not opponents. As soon as the iron hammer of the devil is about to descend, in the moment of thousands of pounds hanging hair, Gangwei appeared. He rushed from behind, hugging the demon tightly. A while ago, another manager smelled the strange gas from the warehouse, so he checked and found him. Earlier, Gangwei has long sneaked up the monitoring device under the car of the devil. Taking advantage of Gangwei was struggling with him, Mizzy and the sisters rushed into the room. But what they saw was just a mobile phone. It turned out that Lao Kim recorded her cry for help to deceive Mizzy. Mizzy screamed on the interrogation of Kim, but he was even more extravagant. He used a blow to beat the old student, then tried to take action with all the people present. Ngong, who is injured, is at the life of life and death. No doubt, at that moment Mr. Kim hit the bullet and collapsed on the spot. It was the police husband of Ngong Ra promptly arrived. When the police force came, everyone at the scene was rescued. In the smoke, Mizzy found a basement and heard his daughter from inside. In an emergency moment, her husband ran to, using her all the time to break the lock and save his daughter with his wife. The fire was gradually extinguished, a life and death crisis finally ended. After that, Mizzy, the sisters and Gangwei came to visit the mother's grave. Now, she was able to rest in 9 streams. Not long after, Gangwei wrote a detective novel with a beautiful ending. Mizzy's husband's cafe also thanks to this event that customers are crowded. Mizzy and the sisters have established a detective office of the Women's Union. Based on your special wisdom and courage, they took turns to solve countless different cases and crises for everyone. One day, Mizzy saw the news and saw a middle-aged woman who died in the park due to an overdose. Mizzy vaguely felt something unusual in this incident. In a hidden corner, the psychiatrist that Mizzy believes is reviewing the sneaky photos of residents in the apartment building, then take out a hidden phone to contact someone. The person at the other end reported that the murder was completed. After confirming the news, the doctor took from the drawer to a bottle of medicine that was carefully hidden and then a sinister smile. Mizzy and the sisters are discussing the case in their detective office. At this moment, a woman came. This woman was the one who pointed a gun at her husband who had an affair in the supermarket in the past. Now, after being released from prison, she kicked the silver husband and intended to join the detective women's detective office. Meanwhile, Gangwei, a part-time student at the cafe, became a great assistant for female detectives. He and the brave and not feared women, starting the journey to resolve all the extraordinary case after another. The movie coming here is the end. Thank you for your attention. Do not forget to click like and subscribe to the channel to watch more good movies. Hello, and see you again.